Hey everybody, this is Miss Florida Hot Picks, and I've been getting so many comments asking what is the best strategy for Florida. Well, there's more than one way to look at rundowns, but using key digit numbers, especially this particular one, guys, pay attention and study. This can give out some really hot hits. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that it's going to happen every time, and sometimes it doesn't always happen. You have to continue to hold on to some of these numbers for a couple days. But I want you to study first, play on paper before you do anything, but watch what I'm going to show you. Okay, I hope you're ready, Florida. I am too. All right, so January 29th midday, there was a hit of 387, and as you guys notice, I'm using rundowns. Why do I like to use rundowns? I love to use them because it helps me determine hot patterns for states, and depending on the state and depending on the rundown used could depend on what kind of patterns are the hottest. And I've been hearing a lot of people, a lot of folks talk about in the Pick 3 community that rundowns are worthless, they're useless, don't use them, they're a waste of time. I beg to differ. A lot of my prediction lists that I use rundowns, especially the 317 rundown. And as you notice, we've been getting some really hot hits. So it's possible, but you have to study. Everyone wants a free ride. They want the numbers to magically appear. You gotta put in the work, right? Yes, you do. Okay, so going back to the rundown that we're using, once you lock in the last hit that you have, that you want to see what patterns could be forming, okay, you're simply going to add each of these numbers down the columns. So for the first column, we're going to add 3. So 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. When we get to our 2-digit numbers, we're only going to use the ones placed to 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. Use your 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. Use your 0. And 0 plus 3 is 3. Okay? So you know that you did it right. The number you start with will be the number that you end with. All right, so once we have everything counted out, I want you guys to pay close attention to your mirrors or doubles on the left side. Now here we have the numbers 3, 8, and then you'll see it's mirror 8, 3. Well, what's that about? Sometimes there'll be doubles here, like 3, 3 or 8, 8. You notice they're both 3 and 8. Well, 3 and 8 are actually mirror numbers. They're the same number, they're just opposite of one another, okay? So the mirror numbers goes as follows. 0 could be a 5, or 5 could be a 0. 1 could be a 6, 6 could be a 1. 2 could be a 7, 7 could be a 2. 3 could be an 8, 8 could be a 3. 4 could be a 9, and a 9 could be a 4. So once you identify where your mirrors are, I want you to pay close attention. Now that you know 3 and 8 and 8, 3 are mirrors, I want you to pay attention to the number in front of it. Okay, if the number happens to be a 7 or a 2, I want you to be very careful. Why? Because those key digits could be telling you something very important. Those key digits could be telling you that there's a possible that these mirrors might repeat. Okay, so key digits 2 and 7, okay, could be a number to repeat things. So you're going to mark your 7 and your 2 so you know exactly where to go. Isn't this wonderful when you can find something, you can pinpoint an area, and that'll help you kind of stick and stay with some things that you need to? That helps out so much. Now, so I already know that there's a possibility that the 3, 8 or the 8, 3. Now, why am I going to look at both areas? You're going to look at both areas because there could be a difference in the third number. Even though the first two are the same, the numbers after a certain point are just mirrors. So what you'll see playing around this 8, 3 are not going to be the same numbers you're playing around with the 3, 8. Okay? So until you get this pattern, or if you continue to see this, and I can't guarantee how often you will see it, when you do, I want you to pay attention to it. For a while, play on paper, okay? I actually missed the 830 last week. I just didn't play it enough. I was one day off, and I don't want you guys to do that, okay? All right. So when we're looking for a third number, so we already know the first two could be a possible 3, 8, or 8, 3. And I've seen this work with doubles as well. So make sure you're paying attention. Sometimes they're in the hit. Sometimes you just have to look through the rundown. So pay attention, okay? So what I would do, anything that's either top or bottom, I will probably think about possibilities, okay? So 834, 831, 832, 835. Okay? Excuse me. So I want you to do the same thing to the top portion. So 389, 386. You see how those numbers change? Okay? And if you look at this 387, you can see the numbers from the top. So then I need 387, 380. Okay? All right. So I'm not telling you have to play all of those numbers, but I would list them out. Okay? Now, what actually hit from this list, it was actually the next day. I noticed these could be brought on a little quicker, but you have to pay attention to them. 830 played January 30th, midday. This went from midday to midday. And I want to share some tips on how possibly to narrow the list down, okay? So let's go there. We have 830, bam. Okay, we have our 830 there. Now, I do notice that the 380 did play over the 7. If you notice that they're doing that, and that way you want to eliminate numbers, like pay attention to what's above or below the 2s or 7s, that could be a way to knock down some of the numbers one way, okay? But I also want you to pay attention to a couple of things. I want you to pay attention to the date numbers, okay? I want you to pay attention to the date numbers now. Now, the date number is going to be 0. The actual hit was January 30th. We're talking about date numbers. We're just talking about the ones place, okay? It's different than the date sum. I know we're going to hear people, what about date sum? Well, it depends what's going on with date sum, okay? But I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. You notice how the date sum was 0, okay? You notice how the third number was 0, okay? I want you guys to meet that distinction, okay? That was very, very important, because sometimes either the mirrors or the third digit may coincide, or they could be a part of the date number or date sum. They can flip it. You have to see what's coming up. You got to know what your date sum numbers or date numbers coming up. They could flip it however they want. I'm going to show you one more example because I missed it again, and I don't want you guys to do it. So far, so good. Give your girl a thumbs up. I so appreciate it. Hit that like button. Also, share this with another Pick 3 player that you might know that can use some tips on some hot workouts, especially using key digit numbers. All right. And definitely, if you have the time, I want you to check out our membership. Why? Because we have some of the hottest videos, and we get to see those first before we actually give those things to the public. So make sure you join us, okay? All right, I got one more I need to show you. I want to show you something. Okay? All right. So here we have the hit 561. It came February 2nd evening. So when people tell me that rundowns and things don't work, you have to start paying attention to patterns. If you don't see things that keep popping up, then that's different. But if you're seeing things that are popping up and you're the one that has to be a little bit patient, then that's what you have to do. You got to use what you got, okay? I'll never say throw any lottery strategy away. What I will say is study and see if it applies to your state, okay? So here we have 561, okay? I'm looking for the left side mirrors or doubles, and I'm looking for that to have the number 2 or 7. Again, we're looking for something very specific. Not every rundown, and it will not show up every day. Key digits 2 and 7. Okay, so here we have the number 2. We're going to highlight that, and the number 7. Okay, when you see that stuff, you're going to be like, oh, they don't come every day. No, they don't. This is telling me there's a possibility the 4-9 or 9-4 could be coming back. Now, they're the same number, true. But below and above, those third numbers may change. Okay? All right. So what do we have? We have 498. All right, 491. 49, I'll just put 940, 940, and 947. I just changed the numbers up. Sorry. Excuse me. 943, 946. See how the numbers change? 942 and 945. Well, what hit? Excuse me, guys. What actually hit the next day? This went from even to even. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to always do this. You have to be careful. But this was the next evening, 934 hit. How many of you missed it? I know. I know. Oh, let me do this. All right. Right there. Okay. Hit right there. All right. 934. Let's pay attention to that date number. Okay, let's pay attention to that. Now, you notice that the mirrors, they hit 9-4. That third number was attached to the date number. They can always switch. They can always switch how they do this. I just want you to be informed, especially when you're trying to consider taking some of the numbers and reducing them. Pay close attention. My thing is play on paper, practice. So when people start sitting here talking about there's no patterns or certain rundowns not working, pay attention to what's really going on and pay attention to key digit numbers. Sometimes they don't lie. But anyways, guys, I hope this was informative. I hope this helps you get better with your games and learning how to look at these rundowns a little differently maybe than you have been in the past. And, become a better predictor, because that's what we're all here to do, right? So definitely, guys, go ahead and hit that like button. I so appreciate you joining with me. I hope to see you guys on the next video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Don't be crazy. We love to have you, but we love to have you in that membership. So make sure you do. If you guys want those hot prediction lists, you want to be a part of our member-only lives on Friday nights. I mean, we go on for hours sometimes. We love to have you guys. So go ahead and join. And I'll have the link in the description box. Love to see you. We'll see you guys on the next video.